There we are. Cooking with fire.
Cooking with fire? Not gas, but fire?
Yeah. Well, what does gas give you? Fire.
Yeah, but the phrase is now we're cooking with gas.
No, it's not.
Yeah, it is.
No, it's not.
It must be a northern southern thing.
No, you're probably right.
What did you call it?
Cooking
When
with
you
gas.
say now we're cooking with gas.
It's cooking with fire, isn't it?
Cooking with gas.
I'd say fire.
Yeah.
Northerners. Maybe it was because you guys didn't have gas.
You do realise gas itself doesn't just cook things.
Well, now, my friend, we're cooking with charcoal.
Hello everybody and a very warm welcome to Ask the Accountant Sage Savvy, our little series where we go into the world of Sage themselves and we figure out what's right, what's good, what's amazing, what's not so good, and we talk about the world of Sage. Tim, we're in the building. It's been a great couple of things. If you haven't seen them, make sure you go back to the first couple of episodes we've done because they were absolutely insightful,
Stunning.
weren't they? But we've got another insightful and stunning episode coming lined up, all about product, right? Which is definitely the bit that you're the most interested in around Sage, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, look, everything recently has been MTD, 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 MTD. And as most of you probably already know, we're based in Guernsey. Most of our clients are there too. MTD, not a thing, don't care about it. It's not fair to say I don't care about it. I actually find it really, really interesting and I think it's quite cool.
It's good to sit behind the pedestal, isn't it? Like,
Yeah,
look at them,
because
like,
I'm not having to worry about it.
Yeah.
So I can take an overview of like, oh,
just
how's
throw
it
a grenade
going?
in every now and again.
Yeah, exactly. Like, hey, why don't you just stop whinging about it and work out how you can do it? Kind of thing. Or, oh, that product you were going to use is announced 2 weeks before the deadline that you can't use it. Oh, no, what will you do? Without actually having any sleepless nights myself. But we're here in the lovely, relatively new, when did these guys move? Like last month, Sage office in London. We've spoken briefly to Erin about the office. We've spoken to Chris about the office. So we've heard all about the office. And now, Zaine, welcome to your office.
Thank you.
So you are not a Sage face
I'm not.
yet. Maybe.
I've been here for 7 years, but I'm not a Sage face.
You're not one of the public facing.
No.
So if you'd like to introduce yourself, tell us a little bit about who you are and what your role at Sage is, that'd be amazing.
Sure, no problem. So I've worked at Sage for 7 years now, so a little bit longer than I was maybe intended when I started out here. I'd never worked in accountancy before I joined Sage, so it was really, really great opportunity for me to broaden my skill set. I worked in telecoms before here, but a lot of the role that I've been doing over the last 7 years is deeply understanding what our customers' pain points are. So the way that I see working in product is getting closer to our customers, understanding their pains, what are the things that they've got opportunities to have a better relationship with the product are, and more specifically just making sure that customers are heard. I think that's one of the best outcomes that we can deliver to our customers, product managers, is making sure our customers feel heard. And we might not always be able to give them the answer that they want, but I think being able to give them an answer and talk them through the direction that we're heading is really the most important part of the role for me.
And I think for you, isn't it, the small wins are sometimes the most impactful wins? Because I've definitely been one of those who've gone, I've sat down at a conference or we've seen, these great videos that have been done and they're flashy of this brand new product or this brand new feature and everything else. But sometimes the most exciting and most impactful, especially in the bookkeeping community, like they go crazy for it, right? When a tiny little thing here has changed or, the date, I'll always go back to one of the products where they changed the date of when VAT was filed and the journal was created, and they changed it from the date that you filed it to the date that it should have been, so the 7th. Like little updates like that, they're the key wins, right? How do you find that pool of people wanting to have these quick wins? What's the way to kind of go through there and try and find them?
I think the best way for us to get feedback from our customers is in an organic way. So either inside the product when they're given feedback through our give feedback mechanism.
Brilliant. Yeah.
Or if we're seeing things that come through on our sort of community forums, or if there's something coming through on one of our chat experiences that customers get. That's really where we look to really zoom in a little bit more and say, if somebody's really taking the time to give us that feedback in an organic way, in a space where we're not prompting them, that means that it's a problem or it's an area that actually we've got a strong opportunity to influence and change. Another way is actually looking at our experiences that sit inside the product and thinking about the number of customers who start a process and don't complete it.
Interesting.
So one of the things which I'm pretty obsessed with is seeing at what steps are people actually falling off, and how can we reduce those steps? Is there a way to make it simpler, clearer, faster? So it's really looking at it through two lenses, like what are customers telling us, but then from a data perspective, do customers know that this could be better? Maybe they don't, maybe they think a 5-step process has to be 5 steps, but if we start to understand that, 50 or 60% of customers are dropping off at step 3, we know that we might need to get the overall process down to 3 steps to improve completion. So those are the different ways that we would look at it. I think more specifically, at a broad level, accountants are very important to Sage, the sort of the beating heart of our organisation. So actually engaging with our accountants through either the accountants advisory board or looking at it through our practice experience managers, practice success managers, and chatting to them about the things that they hear on the road when they're going out to visit practices or win practices to Sage.
Love that.
So just to make your first ever podcast really irritating and make you really grateful that you did it, we've had a couple of things in Sage Business Cloud that have been, they're minor issues, but they're issues.
Yeah.
And they've maybe still not been resolved. And I will give an example, because they're all, like I say, they're quite minor, but on a day-to-day basis, it gets very frustrating. If you're in the bank matching screen and you search in the matching screen for, if you're just going to expense something, you search for a supplier or you search for GL code, if you put in a space or a symbol, then it doesn't find any results. What happens with things like that where it's a known problem but it still hasn't been solved? What's the best way for a user, a customer, us basically, to get back in touch with Sage and be like, hey, like, we're still having a problem with this, what are you doing about it?
So it's a great point, and we're definitely aware of some of the opportunities that we've got in the banking area, full stop. I think that's a great space for us, and it's an area that we can actually improve quite a bit. So I want to make sure that you're fully aware of the fact that we've got a program underway at the moment which is improving our bank experience holistically. But specifically around giving that feedback, it would be giving feedback inside the product. So like you've got the give feedback option in there. We've also got our ideas portal. So if you've came across that, that's where customers can go in and present an idea to us, and other customers can then vote on it. So something that gets a lot of votes will then be something that will become high on our radar, because then we can see that the macro impact of doing something is there. But I think when we're looking at certain changes that need to be made, it might be that the thing that you is suggesting to us is quite a small change in context, but the change that we want to make might be a lot bigger. So we might be thinking about, okay, how do we holistically redo that entire experience so we don't have to keep making small changes?
Yeah.
Sage accounting is on an evolutionary path at the moment where we're taking it into a platform, which is sort of the growth of the product itself. So what we're looking to do really is across all of the sole trader product, the Sage accounting product, really bring all of those experiences from a consistency point of view, make sure that when we're making a change, it can be applied across all of that. So some of those smaller things that I just want to be super clear that we are definitely aware of them, but the change that we want to make might be part of a much bigger change to reimagine the area of the product that it's in.
So we know that you, at the moment, are primarily working on sole trader and obviously MTD. Mm-hmm. Your favourite subject, a set of acronyms that you can pronounce. What is, for you, we talked to Chris earlier about the embedded services. Once someone gets to sole trader, what is, in your opinion, the absolute killer feature or features of that application that means that they should be using Sage rather than a blue or slightly different green coloured solution at a similar level?
I think one of the things that's been really great to see Sage do in market is have the commitment to our free solution in Sole Trader. So we're very aware of the fact that a lot of the market opportunity that exists around MTD are sole traders who are very price sensitive. Some of them who are feeling quite disgruntled about the fact that they're having to do this because it's not a choice, they're coming to software by force. So our main mission is to make sure that we can make that as painless as possible. In terms of that core value path, I think getting the customer to sign up to the product, getting in for free, so we remove those barriers to entry. There's no immediate friction if I have to pay for this thing and then start using it. They're coming in, they're getting it for free. But actually being able to connect your bank account for me is probably the killer feature for a sole trader. And the reason that is a killer feature is it actually removes a lot of that admin perception. You've got your bank account connected, all your transactions flowing automatically. In our free product, you get a limited amount of transactions automatically categorized every single month, which I think is a real wow factor for, yes, we're giving you free end-to-end compliance. And if you want to unlock speed and automation, we've got opportunities for you to move into our paid plan as you grow your transaction scale, rather than give them nothing at all and make it super unusable. It's like we've got the throttling there to make sure that as you grow, you might then choose to grow with Sage too.
Nice.
And I think for me that this was the benefit of making that digital, right? In terms of, look, we can all sit there and be critical of the extra admin and, you know, the extra burdens and everything else. But actually, the exciting bit about it is that it gives opportunities like yourself and Sage to try and rethink the bot a little bit, try and you know, maybe go for a set of client base that didn't really have any need to go for before, but now you've got this kind of need to and the reason for. And we were talking with Chris, weren't we, about the fact that there is, you know, the whole scale and breadth of you know, small businesses to now large businesses with Intact and everything else. So you've got the ecosystem there. But how do you start from scratch with, you know, trying to reinvent a product or trying to start a product from scratch? What was that process like for kind of going, right, here's the pain point, here it is, but how does that whole process even start?
What's interesting for Sage is that they never really have, until now, operated at that much smaller end of the market.
Yeah.
So the starting point has to be the customer pain points. What are the pain points that these customers have? What's their mentality? How are they feeling behaviourally? What are the things that would either create barriers to entry or barriers to usage? And what is interesting, I think, if you look at our sole trader product, is that it's quite deliberately simpler than our accounting product.
Brilliant.
And for very good reason. We know that this audience are not particularly savvy with accounting terms. They are using pen and paper today. They're using a spreadsheet manually. They're using a shoebox with receipts. And we know all of this because we've had hundreds of conversations with sole traders. So when we think about how do we bring them into a brand new product that we want to build, rather than push them into one of our existing products, the right thing to do here was to create something that was bespoke, easy to use, and really tapped into those pain points, so that when customers come in, they feel a bit delighted by it. It's not as a big mental barrier to overcome. You're not having to learn accounting and all of these additional requirements. You're literally just translating something that you do quite easily manually today into a digital form.
Awesome. And just on that kind of having to reimagine and rethink, have you taken this approach to try and look at what was doing a tax return? We used to call them SA 100s or whatever the term you wanted to use internally. Now we have to call them final declaration, and there's this whole new language we've got to learn, right?
You can call them whatever you want, but like if you call it a different name to what it's officially called, you're just going to confuse people.
So we're not allowed to call it a jam jar then, is that?
You can call it a jam jar if you want.
Yeah.
Everyone in your practice and all of your clients need to know that when you say jam jar, you mean. I mean, look, that is like you've touched on the fact that you're aiming to make it as simple as possible. That has always been one of the issues in accounting and bookkeeping, is that everything has three separate names, right? And I've said this 1,000 times before, but there is no reason why we have to say accounts payable, purchase ledger, bought ledger. They're all the same thing, right? But different systems call them different things, different people call them different things, right down to whether something should be plural or not. You know, is it payable or payables, etc. And I think if you can simplify that, the aim here really is not, oh, hey, sole trader, you're going to have to start using software. Let's make that as easy as possible for you. The actual aim is make them want it, right? Make them want to use it and show them what other advantages it's going to have in their business above and beyond just, you legally have to do this now.
Exactly. That's a really great point. And that's the approach that we've taken around getting the customer past their first value moment, which is MTD confidence. And you'll see that we've got a breadth of other features in there really around invoicing, which they don't necessarily have to use if they're doing manual methods today, but then understanding how the product can help you get paid by your customers, because then you're using invoices. You've got the payment services value add in there, which helps them get paid in a simpler, more structured way. And then building on top of that is the financials, like actually being able to see your profit and loss is a real wow moment, because if you're doing it manually today, you have to figure it out. A customer that I spoke to maybe about 6 weeks ago said, because they've been part of our beta testing for MTD and the quality updates, he said a real wow moment for him was getting his tax estimate and then realising he could go on holiday. So it's these little micro unlocks that I think actually create that experience where people are like, oh, right, actually, yeah, I do want to use this, because it unlocks an avenue or an opportunity for me to be more efficient or unlock a little bit more in my life, like that customer specifically.
Yeah, save like half an hour, baby.
Yeah,
worth it.
Yeah. So my point on the final declaration is that I feel like when we were doing tax returns, we've always had this same methodology, and it was like, right. And it doesn't matter what piece of software you looked at, right? It's quite a similar workflow with how we did it. And as accountants and bookkeepers, we accepted it. I don't think we ever kind of had any, like, is it good or bad, really? It was just that was a tool we had. We worked with the tool. I feel like with MTD, we now have a chance to rethink that. Have you had that opportunity now to start looking at the final declaration, how that can be a little bit more, well, let's be honest, like, right, you know, because again we've
Can
always
it be
just
a bit more final.
yeah because at the moment we just accept that this is how we do a tax return, absolutely fine. But what I'm excited about MTD doing is it's people like yourselves now have that opportunity to have a blank slate, have that whiteboard, and start thinking about, you know, what are those pain points, what wasn't, have you kind of got to that point? Because for me, I feel like when we're doing decision making as accounting firms and bookkeeping practices, yes, there's confidence in the quarterly updates for MTD, and yes, there's confidence in having a bank feed and all that sort of stuff. But actually, the wow factor for us is let's find a way to actually make, you know, it delightful to send a final declaration, or even like the best way well in the world. Let's make it so, you know, a typical client who may not be attached to an accountant or bookkeeper, they can do it as well. Have you kind of had any?
That's dangerous territory. That's
territory we should be in,
you
right?
don't need an accountant or bookkeeper. We do it all for you. Just click this button. Territory, that isn't it?
It's a great point. So we've learned a lot through the evolution of our quarterly updates process, and we've tweaked it, we've simplified it, we've removed steps, we've added steps in that add more clarity. We're now at a point where we've got that same opportunity with the tax return. I think one of the things that we're deliberately calling it inside the product is the tax return, specifically because from a mental model for the customer, like a final declaration or using like terms that they become more technical are hard to grasp, whereas a tax return is pretty straightforward to understand. It's like, that's what you do at the end of your day, that's your self-assessment. So that's the thing that we're really trying to double down on. And then from an experience perspective, what we really want to make sure that these customers have visibility of is your income and expense tracking throughout the year. When you get to your end of year, then actually that should be a lot simpler through the tax return. And we want to make
you should have done most of it already, right?
Exactly. Yeah. So we want to make it a super guided process, and that's the approach we're taking, like more progressive. You're actually adding the information in at stages based on when you need to. If you consider like a wizard style setup, which is a lot more consumer focused, you're sort of selecting the things that have happened through the year, and what we want to do is present back to them to say, right, these are things that we need to know about on the basis that you're doing those things.
Well, it's your typical end of year checklist, right? Like as that you send out from, you know, Engage or similar. Like, okay, we're going to start doing your tax return, saying you need to tell me if you have bought a property, right? Sold this, invested in this, any debris, like is there equipment you've got rid of that needs to be disposed, all that kind of thing that normally we're going yes, no, yes, no, yes, no. If it can be to the point where the software is going to ask those questions and then show what information is missing from that, then that's huge, right? Because that's going to save time for both the client and the accountant or bookkeeper. You're not having to chase them at year end. We've all had, even, doesn't matter how efficient you are and how efficient your client is, there's always a list at the end of the year. There's always 7 missing receipts and 4 missing invoices and half a page of missing bank statements and God knows what else. There's always some things that you need at the end of the year. And if we can smooth that process in any way possible, surely that's a massive win, right?
It's huge, and that's where we see that tax return piece really growing and evolving with
that.
accountants and direct users. Another great feature of the Sage Sole Trader product is the mobile app. So the sort of direct consumer can use the mobile app and get notifications to their device via an accountant. We want to really make sure that accountant to client relationships is stronger through that. We know a lot of people find it easier to use a mobile device. If you've got an app on your phone, imagine getting a push notification saying, hey, your accountant needs you to upload this to your account.
Exactly.
And then you just drop it straight
stunning.
in.
Absolutely fantastic.
So that's the approach we're taking. We want it to be delightful for everyone, and I think more specifically through the lens of making it easier, more efficient. We don't want to make more work for people. If anything, we see Sage's opportunity as being making self-assessment easier holistically, better visibility of your numbers, and being able to actually run your business with a little bit more clarity.
Yeah, because I think from a business, from accountant and bookkeeping point of view, we're in this really awkward stage, and I don't think enough people are talking about it, where we're going to have this divide in our self-assessment clients, right? We're going to have the new MTD clients that we're going to do quarterly updates and now final collection, or whatever we want to call it, Jam Jars or Jam Jar Plus. And then on the right-hand side, we've still got our old traditional, SA100s. What I would love to see, and this is my tinfoil hat or my hope for the industry, and hope that we're all going to embrace this, is that I'd love to see clients that are, maybe on the thing where they don't really need to be MTD yet, but actually such a more delightful experience.
Can they bring them in early because it's so cool?
Let's bring them in there because we know we're going to be able to deliver a better experience for them. You know what I mean? Like, that's what I'd love this whole MTD mess to bring to.
That's kind of what, to a lesser extent, that's kind of what happened with MTD for VAT and actually RTI for payroll, right? When RTI was new, some companies were told, right, you've got to start submitting RTI by X, but if you want to do it earlier, you can. And it was so much easier to do it because you didn't have to fill in any paperwork anymore, you didn't have to print anything out, real-time information submitted to HMRC.
And there was a cash incentive as well, but...
Yeah, there was, but...
that helped massively.
Well, no, hang on, the cash incentive didn't last forever, right? There was a group where there was no cash incentive anymore, but you were still early.
Yeah, I'd love that, I feel like we've got that blank slate. I think people like yourselves are, helping to change the way that we're doing that workload. And if this could ever happen, my end goal would be that we are literally pushing clients MTD early, just so that they get that better experience. I think that would be amazing for everyone, right?
I agree.
So then, the next question. You've already told us what you think the best feature of the product you're working on at the moment is, right? But is your personal favourite feature a different feature? And the reason I'm asking, I asked someone this question a little while ago, and they came up with some really it wasn't on camera, sadly. They come up with some really, really specific answer about like the shape and positioning of a button that they'd asked to be moved for a specific reason or something like that. Just like their personal favourite feature of this software was that one thing.
I think for me, because I think it is truly innovative, is the voice to text invoice feature in the mobile app. I think it's absolutely fantastic. It really brings quite a boring process to be a bit more fun, and I think it makes AI more consumable in a way where it doesn't have to feel scary that it's doing loads of stuff for you. It's just you're talking into your phone and the output is an invoice is created.
You're dictating an invoice effectively.
And I think that's just fantastic. I think it really starts to bring people into a technology that otherwise is quite scary. Like, I'm going to do all of your books for you, for example. That's quite scary, but creating an invoice yourself and still being in the driver's seat, I think is really, really good from a control perspective.
Love that. And just a question that on my mind is that accountants, bookkeepers, we love to moan. I mean, most of our community, we've got,
we love a whinge?
but most of our community, they see sense and they're not as broad brush as the rest of the industry can
Welcome
be.
to our new podcast, Get Whingy.
But I'm sure you've heard a lot of accountants, bookkeepers. They're going, "Oh, this embedded, services. It's going to come after our jobs and everything else." Now we are completely on the side of the road that's complete nonsense, and there's a lot of opportunity there to fail. But from your point of view, how do you feel? Because you're making this amazing sole trader product, but also the embedded team. I don't know if you might be the same team, right? I'm making my kind of assumptions here, but almost competing for the same thing. How does that feel? Is it one big happy family, or is there kind of a little bit like, oh, we've got to make our product
kind of like
a little bit
so
more
adjacent?
shiny? Yeah. How does that dynamic work? Because from an accountant bookkeeper world, we see through the there's some idiots out there saying certain things, right? But how does it work when you're all in the same boat, you're all in the same ship? Like, has there been kind of like this whole a little bit of battle going on or anything like that?
To be honest, no. Like from my perspective, it's actually great because what it unlocks for Sage Sole Trader as a product is when we're talking about the platform and how we want to build all of our capabilities once and make them reusable, and we're not constantly building them in a bespoke way for each product. The embedded accountant partners are essentially using the same platform that we've built from a quarterly updates perspective.
Wonderful.
So the way that we look at it is actually if those customers wouldn't have chose Sage at that consideration layer, then they're still actually using a Sage Ledger because they're using the same platform. And if you consider how they might grow over time and might want more sophisticated accounting software, it actually puts us front of mind because we've powered them so far.
Yeah, they've seen your name, right? like they're used to it. They've seen your name everywhere. They know what you are. They feel safe with you by then.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's I think for Sage it's a longer game, but I think it gives us the right perception in market, and it actually opens up a massively different customer type that we otherwise might not have got.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, it's
Cool.
what's the phrase? Every seed can grow a tree
Yeah,
or something. Isn't it?
every
Something along those-
acorn, something like that. Now we're kicking with wood.
Yeah, that's it. Exactly. Yeah, no, I think it's exciting times, isn't it? Where you've kind of got that new perspective. And what I love as well with, because it's all about scalability, as you've already mentioned, right? It's all about pain point. It's all about that. When you nail it for those smaller clients and you kind of got it right for them, that trickles up to the rest of the product line, right? And then you start learning things over in the sole trader world that you can apply to your Sage 50 or even maybe Intact later down the line, right?
yeah.
That's the beauty of it. When you've got such a breadth of like data coming in, because it's all data driven, isn't it?
Exactly, yeah. The data really is the thing that helps us understand where customers will grow, where they won't, which customers are going to be staying in this product, which features might they want to be aware of that will move them to the next tier, that will help them unlock more experiences in the product, more outcomes. So exactly. So the more people that we get at that level allows us to be able to create better profiles of where people can grow and how we might want to expand the experiences.
Nice.
Love that. Are you ready for
Wow.
your curveball, or have you got any more questions that you want to throw out in the product world?
I think we're good. We've got some interesting product information there.
Yeah, definitely.
So what I want to know is, Zaine, what's your favourite biscuit?
My favourite biscuit. Ooh.
This is important.
See, it is
This
important
is very important.
and
I
difficult.
feel very under pressure now, guys.
You should, because for the first time, we told you earlier to relax and not feel pressured about anything. You can forget that now. The pressure's on.
And you will be judged.
There's no right or wrong answers, but there are a lot of bad answers.
Is a Twix a biscuit?
No.
I can't accept
Oh, well,
that.
hang on. Ooh, hang on.
It's got
No.
biscuit in it.
It's got biscuit in it. A Twix
there
is
is a
not a
biscuit
biscuit.
variety.
There is a biscuit. I was going to say you can buy a packet of Twix biscuits. So if it says yes, but if you just mean a Twix bar, that could be your favourite chocolate bar, but it can't be your favourite biscuit.
Okay. Chocolate digestive then.
Nice, a classic.
And are we dunking it, or are we just taking it?
Oh, definitely dunk.
Definitely
Yeah,
dunking.
With
Yeah,
tea.
2-second dunk, because digestives
they can-
more than 2 seconds, they get a bit
Too
waterlogged.
soggy.
Yeah.
You don't want it to
Yeah.
be soggy.
It's not like a rich tea though, where you can't do it for 2 seconds. So you've
No.
got that. Yeah, you got that opportunity. Brilliant.
Absolutely stunning.
Good answer. We've got that camera over there that's directly there. If you'd like to plug maybe some content that you want people to watch on the Sage, or maybe get them qualified, or whatever it's going to be, the camera is yours.
Brilliant. I would recommend that you check out our Sole Trader YouTube page. We've got an amazing set of videos that our learning team have been putting into there to help people get prepared for MTD and actually show them what needs to be done. It's great content, it's free, and it allows you to get set up quickly in the product and get ready for your quarterly updates and tax return.
Absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
Again. What a great selection of guests we've had today.
I know. I mean,
Do you know what I mean?
I feel like honoured that we've been able to come to this amazing building.
Yeah.
Have people like yourself come and be honest, right, and talk about the bits that we want to talk about, and I think that's the key to any relationship with a vendor, isn't it? It's that relationship you
Definitely.
make.
And especially when they get to invite us to places like this.
Yeah, it does help. It does help. Brilliant. Well, thank you very much for coming along. Thank you very much
guys.
for giving us your information. If you want more information like this, and you're already in the right place, to make sure you like, subscribe, and all that sort of stuff, because this is Sage Savvy, part of the Ask the Accountant Network, where we go through everything you need to know about the world of accountancy and bookkeeper. Any last bits from you, Tim?
I don't think so. I think we've got more information than we can possibly handle. We've done 3 episodes today. There may be a 4th coming. Who knows? Watch this space. And look, thanks for getting involved. Thanks for watching. I know we're pre-recording this, but I know for a fact that Mahul will be watching. So hi, Mahul. And I expect probably Kirsty St. John as well. So hey to those guys. If you're not watching now, I'm going to be disappointed, and I'm going to bully you about it mercilessly.
Yeah. And she's a QuickBooks person as well. So
She is.
You're winning people over from the.
Oh
from
no!
the opposition.
You say that, but our good friend Kirsty recently completed the qualification that allows her to do year-end accounts, and she has been doing those in Sage.
There we are. You've converted.
There you go, guys.
Your product is changing lives.
Changing lives and changing minds.
Thank you again very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And stay savvy. We really should use that more often, right?
Maybe.